I'd like to talk to you about these disability lawsuits.
No comment.
You filed about 100 of these.
An attorney who is a hero to some is called a shakedown artist by others. That attorney, Paul Hansmeier, claims that he is helping the disabled gain access to businesses.
He's filed more than 100 lawsuits in the last year against businesses all over Minnesota. Tom Lydon of the Fox 9 Investigators has spent months looking into the allegations, and you're here now with what you found.
I think this is a really interesting story. And as you said, more than 100 lawsuits, but they never ever get to trial except in one case. This is a story about an incredibly important goal, making sure the disabled have full access to businesses. But the cause has been taken up by an attorney with a history of filing frivolous lawsuits. Some say he practices legal extortion. Even advocates within the disabled community say the ends simply don't justify his means. In Marshall, Minnesota, population 14,000, more than a dozen local business owners have found themselves part of a club none of them asked to join. Like the owner of Mike's Cafe, where the bathrooms are too small by today's standards.
It was built in the 60s. Things were different then.
At the hitching post, the wheelchair ramp was too steep by 1 degree.
It's a sad deal. I mean, I think it's probably legal extortion.
Meanwhile, over at the Dairy Queen, a new owner was already remodeling with new tables, but not in time.
So literally, you were done with the changes by the time you were served with the lawsuit.
Correct. And it all began with Mary Lou's cluttered antique shop on Main Street, where a jukebox was blocking an entrance.
I'm 85, and but here I am, trying to do a business.
Altogether, 15 businesses in Marshall were served with lawsuits in the last year under the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, that requires businesses to be handicapped accessible. Every one of those lawsuits settled out of court after spending thousands to fix the issue.
Many of these businesses were already remodeling. They were already fixing the problem.
Their whole MO is to settle. It never goes to court. They just settle for some nominal amount. It could be $3,000, could be $10,000, and it all goes away.
And all the lawsuits filed by the same group, the Disability Support Alliance. They've since moved on to the Twin Cities, recently filing a half-dozen federal lawsuits against strip malls and businesses in Burnsville for having inadequate handicapped parking. They've sued a half-dozen shops along Grand Avenue in St. Paul and the Warehouse District in Minneapolis.
I was never asked. I was sued first.
Where Jim Hilligas added a ramp to a hotel built way back in 1884 and settled the lawsuit for $8,000. The coffee shop down the street went out of business instead. And in White Bear Lake, local business owners say they're now in the legal crosshairs too.
And it appears that this attorney is interested in shaking down businesses for money.
It is really not about access. Yeah. Because what they will do is not get out of the car and say, I can't get in there, I can't get in there, I can't get in there. And then they sue.
Altogether, more than 100 lawsuits filed in the last year by the same group in both state and federal court.
The lawsuits command attention. That's what it does.
And as members of the Disability Support Alliance told the Fox 9 investigators, they're not done yet.
I would like to be able to go into a business, like a person that can walk.
How are we horrible to ask for curb cuts so that we're not hit by a car, stuck in the snow in the winter, or stuck inside getting depressed because we can't leave?
Oh, here we go again. I can't go to the bathroom here. So this means I have to cut my evening short from hanging out with my friends or family and go home to where I know I can go to the bathroom.
Why not tell the building owners, you got a problem, you're not in compliance. If you don't get in compliance, I'm going to file a lawsuit. What would that cost? Why not do that?
If I have to keep telling you it's not accessible, then I don't want to go there. It's become so exhausting.
But most of these places you didn't even tell once that it wasn't accessible.
I don't think I have to.
Neither does their attorney, Paul Hansmeier.
I'd like to talk to you about these disability lawsuits.
No comment.
You filed about 100 of these.
Who is already notorious in the legal world as a copyright troll.
You can understand why people are suspicious of you, can't you, Paul?
No comment.
Hansmeier was partner in a firm called Prenda Law that orchestrated a scheme where it placed pornographic videos on file sharing sites, then sent the downloaders letters threatening lawsuits or public exposure. Most settled, and Hansmeier reportedly made millions. That is until federal judges in Minnesota, Illinois, and California shut the operation down.
Who ran this operation?
I don't know. I do not know.
You don't know anything, do you?
Hansmeier then set up the Disability Support Alliance as a nonprofit with this man, Eric Wong, who in a deposition admits that Hansmeier or his associates would drive him around looking for businesses to sue. Hansmeier's life has become a paradox. He lives in a $1 million condo on the 31st floor of the Carlyle. But down the street at the federal courthouse, he's in bankruptcy. The attorney's very interested in how much he's making, suing under ADA.
How many cases do you settle or get recovery from on a monthly basis?
I would have to review my records.
Hansmeier has taken only one case to trial and won, racking up more than $70,000 in attorney fees.
Sure, I can't comment on pending litigation, so I wouldn't have much to tell you. You're always welcome to speak with my clients.
Okay, I did speak with your clients.
Great. It's important that people follow the law. And the defendants that we've sued have been violating the law in ways that negatively affects my client's life experience.
I'm not interested in making attorneys rich.
Even the State Council on Disability believes the lawsuits are a wake-up call. But it's now working with business groups on state legislation that would require a written notice before any lawsuit is filed, giving business owners time to fix the issues.
By the time they get done paying the attorney's fees, they don't have the resources to remove the barriers. And that's a bad thing.
You only have to watch the group's members get in and out of their cars to appreciate their daily struggle. Imagine doing this several times a day and in winter. But many of the business owners seem equally sincere in providing access to customers they don't want to ignore. The question is whether a lawyer with a dubious past is help or hindrance.
People don't believe you are trustworthy.
I can appreciate why people would believe that based on the orders out there. I would tell people, look at what we're doing now, and if you want to focus on the past, that's fine, but it's not going to be a good idea for the case that gets brought.
What I think throws people off from your cause is Paul Hansmeier.
Then find us a new lawyer.